Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I'm Lawrence, Prez and Steve, and Merrill joining us again today. Teddy woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Steve, welcome to the show. No notice.
A little bit. Hey, look, I was ready to go, and I had so much fun Friday. I begged Teddy to come back on today on Monday because Teddy's like, you weren't mean enough to Prez. You can't do that. If you're filling in for me, you got to be nasty. And I was like, I just can't do it. I like the guy too much, but we'll see how the day goes, Prez. Plus, I missed Tokyo Brandon, Prez. I missed Tokyo Brandon on Friday. I had to get Tokyo Brandon.
Well, the good news is Tokyo Brandon on today. We got a jam-packed show, Steve. 3 guests. Marco D'Angelo right off the top. He's talking Utah Clipper game and then the Minnesota-Seattle baseball game. Bryan Leonard after that Nationals and Rockies game. And Tokyo Brandon at the end talking about 2 teams I can't pronounce. What did you learn this past weekend in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Yeah, it's just something I wanted to touch on real quick before we get to Marco. And we've talked about this for several weeks. Joe Ranieri and myself brought it up exactly 2 Saturdays ago on Sirius XM 204. We do noon to 2 Eastern every day with Rob Vino on every Saturday. And we talked about how baseball was going to probably have to start cracking down on this spin rate, the substance abuse, the new substance abuse where they're doctoring the ball for grip. And the poster child of this, as I did in my video 2 weeks ago here on Wager Talk TV, you can still go back and watch it from June 6th. Baseball videos. I said the poster child of this is going to be Trevor Bauer. He's a guy that was adamant about speaking out against it for several years, and it looks like he kind of capitulated the last couple years as his spin rate went up. He became the best pitcher in baseball last year, Cy Young Award winner. The Reds, while he was on that roster, had the highest spin rate on both fastballs and curveballs last year. Now he's on the Dodgers. Guess what? Most of the Dodger pitchers have higher spin rates this year. Yet they're going to start cracking down. So Trevor Bauer is a guy we're watching closely. And to say he has struggled in his 2 starts since would be an understatement. When I did that video on Sunday, June 6th, I said, keep an eye on him in Atlanta that afternoon. He did not pitch well. It got even worse this past Saturday in his next start. They lose 12-1. The Dodgers lose 12-1 at home against the hapless Texas Rangers, who are just 25-40 on the season. A 12-1 loss. Bauer gave up 4 earned runs, 9 hits in just 6 innings. So back-to-back bad starts by Trevor Bauer. Something to keep an eye on. He was adamant about the cheating. He said it needed to be stopped. It looks like he was in on it. And now it looks like he's maybe not doing it anymore. So that is what I learned, Prez, and it's something to keep an eye on in baseball this week. Also, just quickly, yesterday on Sunday was supposed to be the first day that the umpires start checking the baseballs as well. So we'll see how it plays out this week. Tread lightly with some of these pitchers, and especially with some of these bullpens. Could be some choppy waters ahead for baseball.
Well, listen, if there's any sport where the umpires or referees should stop a game and check something, it's definitely the fast-paced game known as baseball. What is Joe doing? Joe, you look good, dude. You look good. Anyway, Steve. It's unbelievable to me that we are going to find a new way to slow down the slowest game on the planet, but we have to. And it'll be interesting to watch. It's certainly going to help overs, I'm guessing. But we'll see as it plays out. It's $9 Mondays, everybody. All handicappers over at WagerTalk.com. $9 only. Steve, I have the side and total in the hockey game tonight and 1 basketball play, $9. What do you got going?
Yeah, $9 Monday is never good enough for me, Prez. I sometimes do $4.50 Monday, but I said I wanted $3 Monday. I actually made a 3-pack. I liked both NBA playoff games tonight, and I've got a strong MLB best bet as well. So I made a 3-for-1 special for $9, and that works out. I'm going to check with Rob Vino on NBA tip-off later, but I believe that works out to $3 per play tonight on my page at WagerTalk.com.
Oh, you're so sassy. Speaking of sassy, Marco D'Angelo coming up. But man, way to do that math there. Marco D wearing the colors, getting ready to go to his team's hockey game tonight. You excited?
Absolutely. Western Conference Finals. How can you not be excited? I'm just hoping, Prez, that, this is the first game for Montreal out of the country. I hope they get, infatuated with all of the things known as Las Vegas and the Strip. They get a little distraction here.
They're there for a few days, Marco. I mean, I'm sure they've been going out and rocking and rolling, but I gotta believe they'll be disciplined and come in ready tonight. But yeah, you gotta be super pumped, man. You're lucky dog. You get to go to the game. So you and Bryan Leonard share season tickets. So you go to this one, he goes to the next.
Absolutely, that's the way we do it. And where we have a problem, the wives, I know mine especially, diehard Golden Knights fan. She is a Las Vegas native, and she doesn't like sports, believe it or not, Prez. But she fell in love with the Golden Knights when I took her to her first game, and she got the whole gamut that one. I told you that before, that story. She got to see not only a Knights win, but it was an overtime game. It was a shootout. She got to see everything that you could see. I think there might even have been a penalty shot in that game, believe it or not. But, she loves the Knights and became an expensive hobby for me. As you know, hockey's not one of the cheaper sports to partake in, go watch and picking up those tickets all season.
Well, just be thankful you don't have 3 sons who all play hockey. I went to a poker game Friday night. Everybody there had 2 to 3 sons playing hockey. Marco, it's like $15,000 a kid a season. And then they're at the rink. I mean, this one guy who was there, his kid is the top 10 15-year-old defenseman in all of Canada. Dude, he's at the rink 15 times a week. Like,
he's working for that payday that's going to happen someday.
I would get my kid to sign a contract with me. Like,
hopefully it's a January birthday. Have you ever seen that?
That's actually,
you ever seen that stat?
Yeah. And you know what? We were looking it up. Gretzky, January. Messier, January. Michael Jordan. It's actually unbelievable. Anyway, let's get into the show, Marco. We got 2 NBA games going tonight. You want to talk about the Utah Clipper game, and Clippers -5, 224 is the total, and really tale of 2 different types of games. Utah really came out, looked great in the second game, especially. Clippers looked great in the third game. How are you betting this one?
Well, the Clippers looked good in game 3, and, it was life or death for them. We use the phrase in sports all the time, must-win game. Well, when you're down 0-2 and it's game 3 at home, it is a must-win game because you generally are not coming back from an 0-3 deficit, and they responded. And the game got out of hand. And for Utah, their goal going into L.A. was, hey, we got our 2 at home. We held serve. We're playing with house money. It's not a series until a home team loses a game. And if we go up there and just split, this is our series. And, well, they lost the first one. It got out of hand. And to me, I think Utah did give up in the fourth quarter. And, you didn't see any intensity on defense from them. Not that it helped even when there was intensity, because the Clippers were shooting the lights out of the basketball on Saturday. We expect the Clippers to play good defensively. The offensive performance they put up, that's not typical Clipper basketball. They shot from the field in that game an insane 56%, but from three-point range, they shot almost 53%. They were 19 of 36 from three-point range. I just don't see all of that happening again in this game. You will see Utah come out much more fired up defensively with the intensity tonight. And the Clippers, that's their bread and butter. And I just don't see them shooting the same way that they did in game 3. And then I find a stat in this game, and it seals the deal for me. In the NBA, this is a league-wide stat over the last 5 seasons. Play the under when the total is 220 or more, and the road team is only playing their fourth or fewer game in a 10-day stretch. So we're talking about, well-rested teams. And if it's involving two winning teams that have a win percentage of 60% or higher, doing that blindly, guys, 40-14 to the under the last 5 years in the NBA. I'm going to go ahead, take this one. I think the total's inflated a little bit because of the last game. I'll go ahead and take under. That's where the value is tonight in the Clipper-Utah game.
Yeah, Marco, quickly on the side here on this one. I mean, what jumps out to me is that you've got a team coming off a loss after winning the first two games. Normally, they get a couple-point adjustment down, yet the spread is the same, if not a little bit higher in this game. It was 4.5, 5 on Saturday. As you know, the Clippers win by 26 easy. Now it's 5. It's a solid 5 across the board. It's amazing to me how the public quickly jumps ship. Utah was 2-0 at home. They get blown out, and now the line is a little bit higher. Any thoughts on the side real quick?
Yeah, I would agree with your thinking on that, that they are telling you kind of that the Jazz might be the right side. And you talk about the adjustments generally from games 3 to 4 whenever you're talking about, a 2-0 thing. Just look yesterday at what the line was with the Milwaukee-Brooklyn game. Milwaukee was 3 or 3.5 in game 3, and they were an underdog as much as 2 points yesterday, a 5-point difference. And you're seeing no difference here. That's a strong indicator, especially off a blowout where if the adjustment should have been higher off of the easy win. Sharp money's on Utah, and I would agree with that side.
Marco, D'Angelo, everyone. Marco, what do you got to promote tonight?
I do have an NBA game. Obviously, it's not the Clipper-Utah game. It's the other game. I've got a play there, a high roller play, and we hit our 5% play yesterday. It was on the Milwaukee Bucks. I couldn't pass up that 5 points of value there.
Yeah.
When I first saw that, guys, I'll be honest with you, I had to go back and check the injury report. My knee-jerk reaction was, Harden must be coming back tonight. And no, Harden's still listed as out, and they adjusted that line 5 points yesterday. No, I couldn't do it. Now, I know Kyrie got hurt during the game, but I will point out, when he left the game, Brooklyn was losing. It wasn't like they were winning and he went out. They were losing at the time when he went out. So I'll take that 5% win. We're on a 43-20 run in the NBA. You can get tonight's play normally $25. It's just $9 on $9 Monday.
Yeah, and congratulations. Outstanding NBA run and just really killing it in everything across the board. Also, I got to make mention, Marco, you being one of the co-founders of the company, two guys, Buster Sports and Dave Koken, called the outright winner in the golf tournament yesterday. Plus, what was it? It was insane.
It was over like 50 to 1. Yeah. I think it was like 54 to 1 or something.
Yeah, 54-1. Both of those guys called the outright winner. We have the U.S. Open starting this week. We'll have golf discussed throughout the week on this show. But just a hats off to Dave Koken and Buster Sports. Listen, I follow golf. I never even heard of the guy. Like, how do you call an outright winner of a guy you've never even heard of? It was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, he's a young player from what I know of him, and apparently he has been doing very good. Just that somebody flying under the radar for, the average guy. But if you're somebody that follows this, the sport, and that's why we got so many niche guys that are so good in different things. Carmine and Kevin Dolan hit a couple weeks ago, Prez. If you remember, they called an outright winner in one of the big soccer tournaments. They scored a nice price. And Tokyo Brandon, absolutely killing, Asian, Japanese baseball. If you find something, you're good at it, just pound the hell out of it. And these guys are doing it. Congrats to all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Marco, let's talk Minnesota, Seattle. 8 is the total. Minnesota on the road, -136. I mean, neither of these two teams are really lighting it up. Seattle is disaster. They've lost 3 of their last 4, and Minnesota, the last 6 games, perfect zigzag, ending with a loss against Houston. So if that holds, many might be the play tonight. Where are you going?
Well, Minnesota, we talked about them on various shows this year. they're probably one of the biggest disappointments in baseball. Obviously, we thought they were going to be down a little bit this year from where they've been, but nobody saw this fall coming. And it's been basically a problem with the starting pitching. And one of those guys is on the mound tonight. Maeda, this is a guy that's generally been a good pitcher, and he struggled this year. They sent him down, put him on the injured list. That was a short stint. Had some groin problems, some tightness there, weakness in his arm. So minor stint on the injured list. He did throw a rehab start on Wednesday. AAA ball was fine in that start. So I'm looking for him to bounce back tonight with a good effort. He'll be facing Marco Gonzalez for Seattle, who also just came off the DL. This will be his third start back. They've had him on pitch counts in the first two outings, and that'll probably be the case again tonight, although they will increase that pitch count. Then you get into the Seattle bullpen. I look at this one. Here's the edge for Maeda. He's never faced Seattle yet. I always talk about pitchers first time, when hitters see them, they have the advantage. On the flip side, Gonzalez has only faced Minnesota twice, but he has gotten shelled in both of those games, getting pounded in those games. I am going to look for more of the same. In Minnesota, catches Seattle in one of my favorite situations. They're returning home from a road trip. It's one of those long road trips. It was a 3-city, 10-game road trip, and I love it even more whenever the team is changing time zones. This is going from the East Coast back home to the West Coast time zone. No day off in between. I will look to go against those teams all of the time. And for Minnesota, a team that struggled this year, guys, when you're struggling, I think sometimes the best thing for you is to go on the road. You don't have to listen to the local talk shows and reporters asking you the same questions over and over again. What's wrong? Well, obviously, if they knew what was wrong, they'd fix it. They don't. Get away, get on the road. You don't have to worry about the home team, home crowd booing you and listening to and reading what you're doing wrong. I like Minnesota tonight.
I'm Marco D'Angelo, everybody. Marco, thanks for joining us, man, and congratulations on an outstanding run all around. All sports, one of the top handicappers, most profitable handicappers over at WagerTalk. It's hard to be above Tokyo Brandon when you're only doing two sports and you basically know them like I know my bicep. It's hard to beat that man. Marco D'Angelo, everyone. We'll see you next Monday. Enjoy the game tonight, dude. I am so jealous. I hope you have a blast. I know you will be texting me. I'm going golfing today, so I'm happy, man. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. Steve Merrill's Big Game Breakdown. Tokyo Brandon, Bryan Leonard, the penalty box segment. This show has literally just started. Please hit that like button for us.
Mr. WNBA Hakeem Prophet has started just where he left off 3 weeks into the WNBA season. He's now 8-4 in total plays while hitting 83% in NBA playoff totals, 10-2. Ski's WNBA season is $269, which is now discounted down to $199. Plus, if you purchase this special before Sunday, you will get the rest of his NBA playoff totals for free. To get Hakeem Prophet's WNBA and his NBA totals through the finals, it would cost you $448. But right now, you can lock in all of these plays for just $199.
It's time for the big game breakdown here on WagerTalk Today, Monday, June 14th. Going to look at a little national TV ESPN baseball action for you tonight on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. National League matchup between the Cubs and Mets. And I want to break this down actually a little bit from a Fade the Public perspective. As you guys know, this year I did a Fade the Public NFL video. This past weekend I did a Where the NBA Fade the Public video. Don't talk a lot about it in baseball because it's a daily sport. You know, sometimes we don't see a lot of public data, but I've actually got a little bit on this game. And it is a high-profile game once again because it's the national TV game tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Public normally plays favorites in all sports, whether it be football, basketball, baseball. They normally play the over. We know that. So when they're on an underdog and over 60% on a dog, it catches my eye. And that's the case here tonight. We get a little bit of a public love for the Chicago Cubs here. and I don't exactly agree with it. We basically have a pick-em price. The Mets are a slight $1.10, anywhere from $1.10 to $1.20 favorite today in this game. Yet the public is jumping on the Cubs, mainly because Arrieta's on the mound. Maybe that's why. Peterson has been awful this year for the Mets, 6.3 ERA. But Arrieta has a 5.0 ERA. And overall this year, they both have identical whips, 1.4 each. And whip, once again, is walks and hits per inning pitch. I think it's a better overall barometer of a pitcher's performance because it's taking in all the guys he's putting on base. So if you look at whips, these two starting pitchers are dead even. Yes, the Cubs entered this off a 5-game win streak, but they've been a little bit lucky here. They've been getting it done with pitching, and I'm not so sure Arrieta is going to hold up his end of the bargain tonight. The Cubs overall in those last 5 wins, they've had 4 hits or less in 3 of those 5 games. And overall, they've only had a double-digit hits once. They've had 7 hits or less in 4 of those 5 wins. I think hits are also a good barometer of a team's current offensive form. Now, the Mets also not exactly smashing the ball, single-digit hits in 4 of their last 5 games, but they're still a quiet 5-2 straight up their last 7. They've had 10 hits or more in 3 of those 7 games, 13 hits or more in a couple of them, and they're at home tonight. It's a no-travel situation for Chicago after a big rival series this weekend against St. Louis. Meanwhile, the Mets stay home. They get a step down in class after playing San Diego, but they still beat the Padres 2 out of 3. As far as the bullpens go, I actually think the bullpens are pretty even. And once again, starting pitching's even. I actually give the Mets a slight edge offensively. So we're going to fade the public tonight. This is a little bit of a fade the public baseball style. Take a look at the New York Mets as the small home favorite tonight on national TV at 7 Eastern. That's your big game breakdown for Monday night. Back to you, Prez.
Great stuff, Steve. Bryan Leonard joining us. Bryan, you're going to tomorrow night's game. No, Wednesday night's game. Marco gets game 1. Who gets game 7?
I will have game 7 because I'll be back in town at that point. So I'm looking forward to it. If we do get to a game 7, I get to go to a game. I'm looking to watch this game tonight on TV. I'm really excited about it.
It's going to look, you know what, you guys have your team, right? So, I mean, I know both you and Marco are bettors, obviously, but you know, Teddy is against cheering for teams. He's like, fandom sucks. I'm
Happiness
jealous,
sucks.
man. Yeah. Nobody wants to be. Well, Teddy's attitude is, if you have a team and they win the championship 1 out of 10 years, which is still very rare, that means 9 years you have your heart broken. So why put up with that kind of stuff? And
well,
look, I get it.
He did get married, and most marriages nowadays, the people that are married are not happily married, and the ones that are divorced obviously weren't happy, and people still get married. So Teddy's married.
Plus, you can make an argument that 1 out of 10 times feels more than 10 times better than the other 9 times feel combined. So, you know,
that's right.
Other ways to look at it, right?
There you go. Bryan Leonard joining us. Bryan, let's get straight into it. Washington playing Pittsburgh tonight. I'm not going to even set the game up. Where are you going with this one?
You know, it's funny. I'm a big Brubaker fan. Liked him earlier in the year, but he has struggled a little bit lately. He's going against John Lester, and Lester has not been that great this year. In fact, Lester's been one of the pitchers that you tend to look to bet against. But when you take a look at Brubaker, his last 7 starts, he's got a 49 average game score, Lester 47, very similar. But Lester, 4 of those 7 games were better than league average of 50. Whereas Brubaker, if you take a look at what he's done on the road lately, he did have 1 decent game, a 51 game score. The other 2 were 33 and 33. So he's struggling a little bit. Pittsburgh's lost 7 straight games coming into this, and Washington's not a team I'm usually looking to bet on, but they did split against the Padres at home. I think that was a positive situation for them. So we're getting them here in slightly higher than a pick'em range, which basically, if you take away the home field advantage, you're saying basically these teams are equal or Pittsburgh might be a little bit better. I don't see it. Pittsburgh's still the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they have been lousy on the road all season long, 10 and 22 on the road. So I think it's a cheap number to play what I consider the slightly better team here. And even though they got Lester on the mound, I think Washington is the better value here.
Yeah, and Bryan, quickly on this one, you know, Marco brought up a point about how teams coming back off those long road trips, and that applied to Seattle tonight. They're back home. They've had no rest. This is an interesting situation, too, in these Monday games, because as I talked about in the big game breakdown, Chicago traveling without rest while the Mets stayed home. How much of a disadvantage do you think it is for Pittsburgh also? They were at Milwaukee yesterday. Now they're in Washington. Meanwhile, the Nationals stayed home after playing the Giants. So do you think that's a little bit of an added edge as well?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of an edge. And you talk about the first game home. Sunday is one of those days that most teams play a lot of backups on Sunday. I don't think it has quite the same value as it does when you come home on a Thursday or one of the other days of the week, because you played your starters the day before. So I would like that. There's something for our buddy Ralph Michaels. Maybe Ralph could go in and take a look at that, is how it works when a team plays coming off of a Sunday as opposed to other days.
Bry, Andrew McGinnis just popped into the chat room. He says that he hopes everybody continues to underestimate the Habs. Do you think that if we all underestimate the Habs, that'll have any factor in the series?
I do from a betting standpoint. Obviously, we saw that yesterday in Tampa Bay. Everybody thought Tampa Bay was going to crush the Islanders, and Tampa Bay went into that series. As a player, you have to understand what everybody else is saying, and it gets into your head. It's like if a team, a guy throws a no-hitter, and the next time he goes out, all he's been hearing about was how great he is. And then he struggles the next game. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And it would not surprise me if the toughest game for the Knights is tonight's game.
Bryan Leonard, everyone. Bri, let's get to the next game. Well, firstly, guys, I'm taking it a bit personally. 260 of you watching live, 40 likes. Come on, man. Come on, man. Hit that freaking like button for us, Bri. Colorado Rockies playing San Diego. Two teams heading in a different direction. San Diego, one of the best teams in baseball, and Colorado just can't get out of their way. Who are you betting in this game?
I'm not so sure San Diego is one of the best teams in baseball. When you take a look at the way they played as of late, the offense has been dead. Other than the record they had yesterday, they have not played well lately. This offense has been so overrated. And they've got to go on the road here to play Colorado. Gomber, say what you will about Gomber. Early in the season, nobody wanted to bet him, and I was on him. And I've been proven correct in this regard. The guy's been one of the top 30 pitchers in baseball over the last month. He hasn't been walking anybody. He's pitching very well, and he's been very good at home so far this year. He's got a 60 average game score his last 7 starts, 50 being league average. He's faced the Padres twice so far this season, 64 and 63 with a 0.79 ERA. Can't get much better than that. Lamette's a really good pitcher. He's well known based on how he's done the last few years, but he's been injured so much, and he really doesn't pitch long in the games. He hasn't been stretched out yet. So you get to the bullpen very quickly here with the Colorado, and I happen to think there's value here on Colorado. It's a situation for me where you take a look at Colorado, you fade them big on the road, but at home, they've got a winning record. I believe they're 20-14 at home. So we're getting the team playing much better at home. They got a better home record than San Diego does on the road. You're getting them at home right here. I like Colorado as a nice underdog.
Yeah, and Brian, isn't it something that we're getting them as a small dog? You still like them where they're the second worst team coming in. The Padres are the second favorite overall coming in. But once again, Padres in terrible current form, by the way. I mean, their offense has just been ice cold. I think till their breakout yesterday, they'd scored 2 runs or less in 4 straight in 5 of their previous 6 games. Brian, real quick before we let you go, though, I got to get your thoughts. You're one of the best baseball handicappers around for decades now, and one of the best records at WagerTalk.com in baseball for several years. What are your thoughts on baseball's perhaps pending crackdown on the new substance abuse? And are you factoring that in, or are you taking a wait-and-see approach? Any theories on that moving forward as a handicapper?
I think you do factor it in a little bit. I saw some stats earlier today. The batters' numbers have been up slightly. Pitching numbers obviously down slightly since this came around. I think it was on the 5th was when they announced it. It's a small sample size, but still, your elite pitchers, your Garrett Coles, who the other day threw career highs 93 or 98 miles an hour after this happened. He was on a mission, and he can beat you with other pitches other than having all the big spin rate.
Yeah.
It's some of these guys that are fringe pitchers that lose the spin rate. Those are the ones I'm more concerned about.
Yeah, great point, Brian. Brian, would you lay 500 on Vegas, minus 500 to win the series?
I think I will not, but I will be looking to, if they fall behind in today's game, in fact, they lose today's game, I think they come back strong. This is the game I'm worried about. If Montreal's going to win a game, I think this is the one. So maybe we could get them knocked down a little bit to half that and then not come in. And it's sort of like what I'm trying to do with Tampa Bay right now. Tampa Bay is more of a pick 'em now. They were 2-1 to open the series. They lost. I think it's a good time now to play Tampa Bay, and I'll be doing the same thing if the Knights happen to lose game 1.
Great stuff. Bryan Leonard, everyone, what do you got to promote on $9 Monday?
I've got 2 baseball up. I've got 2 hockey up. Both first period plays, and I have a basketball play back in action in the NBA, 6-2 run in the NBA. So my playoff sports have been doing great. Baseball, I continue to flounder. I can't win these close games, these 1-run and extra inning games. Just a horrendous luck factor in those, but that's part of betting. We'll get it back today.
Yeah, dude, I've actually put my baseball on hold until after the hockey because I'm so deep studying hockey and NBA, and man, I was 1 day late on every baseball play. Like every play I called won the day after. Anyway, Bryan Leonard, everyone, get out of here, brother. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday. Have fun on Wednesday at the game.
Thank you.
Steve Merrill. Steve Merrill, let's welcome everybody in. Yoshi likes the Habs. Anthony, he didn't pull the trigger on Tampa Bay. Well, now might be the time, brother. Dan Smith, you thought the juice on the MMA was bad? I don't know, man. I thought Israel was pretty much as good a bet as you'll ever make in your life. HGG, New York Islanders, Montreal Canadiens, Stanley Cup. Brother, go bet both of those teams to win their series if that's what you feel.
By the way, Prez,
Steve,
I gotta let you know. So we did the show Friday, and I know you're saying Vegas held Montreal had no chance, but of course Friday late night I do Sports Rage with Gabe Morency over at Sports Grid and on Sirius XM channel 204, and he's of course a big Montreal guy his whole life. So I had to get a little tension going, and I go, Prez said the Habs have no chance in this series. That, of course, set him off for 5 minutes. He said their goalie's red hot. They've shut these guys out. So I just want to let you know. McGinnis, by the way, was in the chat room that night. So McGinnis was lurking as well on Friday night. So I'm doing my best here to get the Vegas. And of course, you're not a Vegas guy. You're a Toronto guy. But I'm trying to get this Vegas-Montreal rivalry going because we do have connections on both sides of the continent, basically, in this series.
Steve, look, I'm sitting in Toronto. Obviously, I hear the news. There's a lot of sports talking heads in Toronto that would like to see, as they say, a Canadian team win. I think what's happening now, honestly, is I think we're having Habs fans and neutral observers who would just like to see the Habs win. They're finding their own narrative, and I understand that, man. Hey, look. If Carey Price stands on his head and doesn't let a goal in the whole series, they win. Yes, they do. If Pacioretty and Stone get hurt and Fleury pulls a groin, they win. Yes, they do. Like, I get it. You can create your narrative any way you want. Oh, they swept Winnipeg. They beat Toronto. They got 4 incredible stand-up defensemen. Shea Weber's a god. Carey Price this, Carey Price that. Brother, shut up and show me your ticket. That's what I have to say. If you're going to give me the narrative that the Habs are going to win, show me your bet. Tokyo Brandon joining us from... Oh my God.
Your long-lost twin brother. We found him in Japan.
Wow, he is a good-looking
those
guy.
poor Japanese people don't know what they're in for.
I was wondering who this guy is because I haven't seen him around, that's for sure.
Pull that off the telephone pole in Tokyo.
What is
coming
this?
Coming on the show with some humor there. Brandon, where the hell are you? Are you in Japan?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm in Tokyo.
I feel like you're wearing a kimono.
My parents named me Tokyo, right? Now, actually, I'm wearing one of my Japanese baseball jerseys because Bryan Leonard actually gives me a lot of compliments on my jerseys. So I thought I'd wear one today since he's on the show. I wanted to be on Friday because Rob was talking about rubbing nipples and stuff. I wanted to be a part of that action, but didn't work out.
Okay. Well, you can rub your nipples anytime you want, just not on this show.
Yeah, and I guess those 2 days. I guess those 2 times, and I hear rubbing nipples both times. I mean, it's like
yes.
Yes. It all spawns from when my kid was watching me I can't remember the game. I think it was Denver Phoenix. I don't remember. No, it was Denver Portland.
Oh, you're watching.
It was
like
it was that. No.
I'm just glad he
go
said
back
game.
and listen to the episode. Anyway, Brandon, let's talk. We got to give out your promo first, then we'll get to a couple of picks. Anyway, I'm going to read this straight off. Tokyo Brandon, our resident expert on all Asian sports, crushing it in Korean and Japanese baseball. 64-39 in Korean baseball, 166-114 in the Japanese baseball. These are ridiculous numbers, Brandon, and you're doing it day in and day out. The number one most profitable handicapper at WagerTalk this entire calendar year. Guys, in all seriousness, it doesn't matter whether you understand the sport or you don't. I guarantee you don't understand the stocks your stockbroker buys. You probably don't even know which companies are included in the mutual fund you own. If you are only betting stuff you knew, you would have lost everything by now. Let the experts walk you through a winning season. Tokyo Brandon, $4.99 for the rest of both baseballs, Korean and Japanese baseball, $4.99. That's $400 off. Head over to wagertalk.com and check that out. Brandon, how the hell are you so good in this sport?
And let me add to that, Prez, if I may. The Japanese and Korean baseball seasons go till about October, so it's pretty much aligned with the Major League Baseball as well. So from now till October, you'll get every pick that I release in both leagues, about 3 to 5 picks per day. So it comes to about $1 a pick. So $4.99 for the rest of both of my seasons is a pretty good deal. On to your question about why am I so good at this? Well, I mean, I have my bad streaks and my good streaks, but right now is a pretty good one. If you do this long enough, you're going to have peaks and valleys. But I used to be a scout. If you read my bio, you'll know that I used to be a scout for a major league team and scouted Japanese baseball. But I found that making lines and betting, the information is a little more profitable because scouts don't make any money.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But do they get the girls?
Do they get less travel too?
What's it? They get girls? No, it's a very.
They don't make money or get girls. That's terrible.
It's not a glamorous job. It is not a glamorous job.
I think your hours and your travel is probably a little bit better not being a scout anymore. Yeah. But I love the fact that you've turned a former passion into a profitable passion here as a handicapper. And Brandon, if the $1 per day for the rest of the Asian baseball season is too expensive for people, let's give them a free play here just as a little taste so they can build that bankroll to afford $1 a day. But my favorite team ever is the Hiroshima Carp. I know very little about Asian baseball, but I've always loved that nickname. I've always loved the concept of a fish for your logo. And I'm hoping my former Washington Redskins will go that route when they finally get a nickname as well. But what are you looking at in the Cebu Lions and the Hiroshima Carp in Japanese league?
Looking forward to the Washington Carp there, Steve. But Japanese baseball also has the Nippon Ham Fighters. And one person came up to me and said, "Hey, the Ham Fighters, what a cool name." It's actually Nippon Ham Fighters. So it's not the Ham Fighters, unfortunately. So on to today's game. The Cebu Lions are traveling to Hiroshima to take on the Hiroshima Carp. And Hiroshima Carp are starting a starting pitcher who I really like. His name is Osera. Really good. Hiroshima hasn't been hitting that well lately, but I think the fact that Seibu's bullpen is just atrocious and Seibu's starting pitcher is not as good as Osera, I'm taking the Hiroshima Carp on the money line here. And I just checked at Pinnacle and it was minus 115, between minus 115, minus 120. So that's what I'm betting today in Japanese baseball. I have a couple more plays out. Unfortunately, KBO Korean lines are not out yet, so I don't have any plays, but I do have my eye on the Kiwoom versus LG game in the KBO because Eric Jockish is pitching against Casey Kelly, and that's going to be a real good one. So those are two games I'm looking forward to, but the actual play that I'm putting out is Hiroshima Carp on the money line. That's actually a 2% client play.
Yeah, and Brandon, you also like the over as well, right?
Yes, that was another play. That's also a client play, but the analysis is slightly different for that. It goes back to the fact that the Seibu Lions bullpen is awful. We have two really good lineups who can put the ball over the fence, and we have one really good starting pitcher. But besides the one really good starting pitcher, I think the two bad bullpens and the two good lineups will make up for that. My numbers have this at 8.6, so I think 7 is too low. So I'm going to bet the over 7.
Steve?
The Carp.
I'm
Steve,
sorry, I muted myself. I was so excited for the penalty box, I muted myself. But before we get to my favorite segment of the show, I've got to. I have to have it muted when Prez is on because I go crazy in the background. But Brandon, real quick before we let you go, I've been preaching about this substance abuse thing in baseball, about the doctrine of the grip and everything. We've been talking about it. In your career as an Asian baseball handicapper and scout, have they ever had anything in the last recent 20 years like the steroid era or now this grip era? Have you seen anything like that? Has there been any controversy? Is there any rumblings that they're doing it also?
Have not, actually. And it doesn't mean that they're not doing it. It just means that if they've caught them, that hasn't been publicized. And I think the testing over here has been a lot more stringent than it has been in the US. And I think they test players quite strictly over here since the 80s. So no, I mean, if you test people, then it's not a problem, right? So I don't know why it was a problem in Major League Baseball. Just test them.
Well, they needed to save baseball after the strike, as you remember, the strike year in '94, and they wanted offense. But anyway, interesting. I appreciate that. Yeah. I hadn't heard anything either, but I just wondered behind the scenes.
No, I've never heard of any controversy like that at all. And actually, it's such a gentleman's game out here. If you plunk a batter, you must tip your hat to him. Wow. And it's just a gentleman's game out here. So it's not like out there. There's no bat flipping. There's no. Oh my God, it's a gentleman's game out here, actually.
Such a shame they don't play hockey. I'd love to see that. Elbow in the face. They have to
Japanese
do a curtsy.
There'd be no hitting. They would be shaking each other's hands and bowing to each other. I don't think it'd be
like
very
their rugby. Brandon, do like their rugby guys in the Olympics, right?
Yeah, Brandon. Before we let you, Japanese rugby's good.
Very good.
Brandon, before we let you go,
yes.
Have you unearthed a nugget that made it to the Major League Baseball? Did you find anyone?
I was actually scouting. Well, did I find? I didn't find anyone. What it is you're a team of scouts and you compile data and you scout certain people. So it is quite interesting because I was scouting back in the 2006-2008 era when Darvish came out and Kikuchi now, who's pitching for the Mariners. Yusei Kikuchi, he's pitching for the Mariners, right? He was in high school and I actually did scout him. And there was controversy because when he came out, he was going to bypass Japan and go straight to the major league, but he didn't. He signed with the Seibu Lions, and then he went to the major league after that. But he created a big controversy when I was a scout back then. Darvish came out at that time, and actually Yusei Kikuchi and Otani both went to the same high school, and I did scout both of them when they were at that high school. So
Nice.
Interesting.
That was a great segment, man. We'll see you again in the next couple of weeks.
I scouted them, but I didn't unearth them
until it's claimed otherwise.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, I found Ohtani.
There we go. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? More importantly, Brandon, we found you.
Exactly.
And
thank you.
I could care less about Ohtani.
You know, WagerTalk, when I was brought on in November, they told me I could meet this guy, but I still haven't found him. He doesn't resemble anybody in the whole WagerTalk team, so I'm just wondering who this is.
No. Yeah, that was my Plenty of Fish. That was my Plenty of Fish profile picture. Get the hell out of here, man. It's time, everyone. Let's get ourselves into that penalty box.
Oh, mute.
Hey, everybody. Thank you all for watching WagerTalk Today. For those guys watching this video on Twitter, make sure to check Steve Merrill and I out. What a show today. Marco D'Angelo, Bryan Leonard, and Tokyo Brandon. Look, I got both the side and total up for my clients in the hockey game tonight. You guys can grab that for only $9. I do have 3 free picks to give you guys tonight. The first one is courtesy of Carmine Bianco from our hockey show Puck Time, and that is Mark Stone to score a goal at plus 140. Mark Stone to score a goal at plus 140. Unlike Marco, I think the over in the Utah Clippers game is the right play tonight. So that's another one. Take the over in the Utah Clipper game. And I want to talk about Marc-Andre Fleury. He is plus 170 to win the Conn Smythe. Now, what does that mean? Look, they have to win the whole thing for Marc-Andre Fleury to win the Conn Smythe. But I think that is a good bet. Firstly, I think Vegas is going to win the Stanley Cup this year. And they are such a well-balanced team with 4 really solid lines, as we in Toronto call them, 4 lines of Zach Hyman. And you know, no monster. I mean, Pete D'Angelo is amazing, but he's not lighting it up. He's not Victor Hedman. So if Vegas does win the Stanley Cup, there's only one person who's going to get that Conn Smythe, and it's Marc-Andre Fleury. So take him at plus 170. Great show, everyone. Teddy, tomorrow's show, we got 2 Tonys and an Andy, so check us out. Steve, you want to take us home? I got golf to go to.
My man, get your golf. Glad to hear it. I want to hear what's the over-under, Prez, real quick. 92? I'm making 92 and a half.
98. I don't use a driver, and I stink.
Okay, so breaking 100's a victory, right? And I'm with you, man. That's my golf game in a nutshell. Hey, I want to thank you, Prez, for having me on today. Thank Teddy Covers for allowing me to fill in for him once again. I want to thank Marco D'Angelo and Bryan Leonard, 2 Vegas Knight fans, for joining us. And on the other side of the globe, thank Tokyo Brandon for joining us all the way from Japan. Check out his baseball special for the rest of the season, less than $1 a day. Check out all of our best bets today for $9 Monday. If there's ever a day to load up on several cappers, it's today at WagerTalk.com. Also, best bets at SportsMemo.com. And thank you for Joe Ranieri back in the studio making this happen. If you want to see Joe in person, you can join him and myself at 3 p.m. Eastern today for NBA tip-off right back here on WagerTalk TV. Hey, thumbs up, like, subscribe, give us some comments below, and have a great Monday and a great Monday night. Best of luck. Prez will be back tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on WagerTalk TV.
Over the past 365 days, if all you did was bet Kevin Dolan's boxing selections, you would be up plus 40% in profit. If you purchased Kevin's weekly boxing card, it would cost you $1,300 over the course of a calendar year. But for a limited time, we've slashed all that down to $199, saving you over $1,100.